Gravy is one of those things that can make or break your Thanksgiving dinner. So let's do it right the first time. Here's an easy recipe using the drippings, plus a little extra flavor and some of those leftover herbs. All right, starting with a warm pan. Equal parts fat to flour, and of course you can substitute whatever you want for the flour. Gluten-free flour, tapioca, cornstarch, all of them work. I like to go a mix of butter and some of those beautiful pan drippings from the roasted turkey. We go medium heat until everything melts and starts to bubble, and then we slowly whisk in our flour and we keep whisking. We're building what's called a roux. That's French for flour and butter put together into something that thickens other things. Getting the perfect temperature is the key here. We don't want the flour to burn, we don't want the butter to burn, but we want it to bubble and come together. And that requires just medium heat, working nicely. Now you can see those medium-sized bubbles. That means it's time to add our flour. So we're gonna go about half the flour first. Just give that a whisk. Now the key to a good roux is time. You have to let it cook in the pan for a little while. That makes sure it doesn't taste like flour. That makes sure it holds together nicely. That makes sure that when you add it to your stock will be creamy, not lumpy. Now I can actually start to build the gravy in my roux pan just by adding a splash of stock. When you add your roux to your hot stock, you want the stock to be just lightly simmering. Right now we're just cooking that flour taste out of the roux. And then we'll add this whole mixture right back into our stock. That is gorgeous. Smells like Thanksgiving in here. Doesn't matter what time of year it is. We're gonna give that one more minute. I'm gonna add a tiny bit more stock to my pan. Let that come together. Beautiful, creamy, no lumps, nice, smooth. It should be shiny. I think the butter helps a little bit with that shine. I also like the taste of butter. I think it adds another element. All right, now we're gonna add about half of our roux and let it thicken up. We're gonna give that a stir. We're gonna let it come together, thicken up a little bit. We'll see if it's thick enough, and then we'll add a little bit more of our roux as needed. That is just absolutely delicious. All right, we're gonna add the rest of our roux right in there. Give that a whisk. The key here is just whisking, you know? Don't take your eye off it. Whisk it for a bit. Sometimes you have to add a little bit more roux. Sometimes you have to add a little bit more liquid. But the main thing is equal parts flour and fat. That makes your roux. Cook that for a few minutes. Add it to hot liquid. Can't lose. You can also make this in advance and refrigerate it. When you reheat it slowly and make sure you whisk it. Otherwise the butter may separate. As it starts to thicken and you're gonna see bubbles rising to the surface, the way to check to make sure you have the perfect texture is a metal spoon. I'm dipping in there, and as we pour it off, you see it coats the spoon, leaves a layer behind. To me, that is perfect gravy texture. Now, of course, you can continue to thicken it further by adding more roux or more cornstarch. Any of those methods will work. For me, the final stage in a good gravy is some fresh herbs. You know there's always herbs left over from holiday cooking. Get those in there, some fresh sage, some fresh thyme, little bit salt. Good gravy should have a nice salt content because you're putting gravy on the part of the meat that didn't actually get salted. So you really want that extra oomph of flavor. Oomph is a technical word when it comes to cooking. All right, give that a final whisk. And then of course I've got my tasting spoon handy. That's what Thanksgiving is all about, good gravy. there you have it. Hopefully there is no more stress when it comes to cooking for the holidays. That final gravy, remember you can do it a couple days before. If you have extra neck bones from the turkey, roast them off, make a quick stock. It's absolutely perfect. Well, I'm Yankel. From all of us at ButcherBox, happy holidays.